Well, I had lots of requests to go ahead and read a new chapter book, and so this is a chapter book that I really wanted to do at some point on a family reading night, but I still haven't been able to find enough copies to share with people, so I thought this would be a good one for me to read to you. The title is Gooseberry Park, and it is written by Cynthia Rylant. For those of you in my reading group, you remember Cynthia Rylant as being the author of Poppleton Pig, but she is also the author of Henry and Mudge, and a few others that you may or may not recognize. But those are the big ones that most people recognize that she's written. So this book is written in divided up into 19 chapters. And so I will read 1 to 2 chapters at a time. All right. Chapter 1 is titled A New Nest. There really aren't pictures since it's a chapter book, but if there are, I'll show them to you. This is the cover, so you can see what it looks like. All new mothers have a nesting instinct, even human mothers who haven't any idea how to build a nest. While human mothers are waiting for their babies to be born, their nesting instincts cause them to do the silliest things, such as taking all the pots out of the cabinet and all the pans out of another and switching them. Human mothers don't know why they are doing this, except that some little voice in their head keeps saying, "Keep busy, keep busy." A sensible rabbit mother who hears this little voice will simply pluck her fur with her teeth to make a nice warm baby bed for the near future. But a mixed-up human mother will just wander about her kitchen, switching her cabinets for no reason at all. Thus, it was a good thing that Stumpy was a squirrel. She knew a nesting instinct when she felt one, and she knew what to do about it. For many days now, every part of her red squirrel body had been shouting, "Keep busy, keep busy." And was she ever keeping busy? For the new nest she was building, she had collected the choicest twigs and the finest leaves, and, because she was sure of what was about to happen, bits of pink-dotted, blue-flowered, or green-starred material that could be had from a little digging in the can behind the town sewing shop. One morning, she had even happened upon a bit of cloth, decorated with pictures of little red squirrels carrying brown nut sacks, and she nearly fainted away. It was better than she could have ever hoped for her new babies. And new babies, indeed, were what she was about to have. Babies to love, to keep clean, to bring up close to her fur in the dark night. Stumpy was about to become a mother. And oh, was she proud. And busy, quite busy. Carefully, she lined her new nest with the twigs and the leaves and the bits of beautiful cloth. She had recently moved from an old locust tree on the south side of Gooseberry Park to a pin oak on the east. She had moved because, like most who live alone, Stumpy had been rather relaxed about her housekeeping, and her old nest had become difficult to move around in. You see, Stumpy was a collector, and her nest was getting full of treasures. She had tremendous energy, and after she had found as many acorns and pine cones as could be eaten by one little squirrel, she burned up the rest of her energy by collecting. Stumpy collected these things: tabs from soda pop cans, empty yogurt cups, gum wrappers, coins, ice cream sticks, straws, feathers, pretty pebbles, little balls lost by children, nuts, bolts, screws, tacks, twist ties, and rubber bands. Her most beautiful treasure of all, though, had been a lovely watch that glowed in the dark. 2 winters ago, she found it lying on top of a picnic table. She took it to her nest and didn't realize until the evening what a marvel it was. As darkness came, the watch began to shine, and Stumpy's nest became bathed in a soft green light. Animals who passed by at night were drawn to it. Everyone came to see it, and news spread far and wide of the glow-in-the-dark nest in Gooseberry Park. Unfortunately, the news spread too far and too wide. Someone came one day and stole that watch from Stumpy's nest. And Stumpy never found it again, though for weeks she sat high in her tree at night and looked out over the park, hoping that she would see the green glow. She never did. Still, Stumpy had other treasures. In fact, too many treasures, and her collection had gotten all out of control. Stumpy knew that no self-respecting mother of several young children could have her babies sleeping among wood screws and twist ties. So she found a new tree and built a clean nest and organized her collection to give plenty of room for her babies. Her friend Kona would be proud of her housekeeping. Each time she collected something new, Kona would say to her, "Stumpy, you have too many things." And she would answer, "Not things, treasures." And Kona would say, "Stump, my owner, Professor Albert, has a chess set crafted in pure silver, a crystal punch bowl, and a set of china. That's treasure." Well, what could a Labrador dog know about treasure anyway, thought Stumpy. Kona was a good friend, a fine friend, but he had no imagination. If he had, he'd be living in the park collecting feathers and balls instead of sitting in a boring ranch house with Professor Albert. Stumpy had babies, and copper pennies, and even the chance of finding another glow-in-the-dark watch to look forward to. She went on carefully layering her maple leaves and flowered cloth and green twigs into a safe, warm pocket. Her friend Kona might not regard gum wrappers and ice cream sticks as treasures, but Stumpy knew a noble dog would not mistake the priceless value of a new life in a tall pin oak tree. The tree that for her would be a harbor in a storm. The tree that her own babies would call home. So now we've been introduced to Kona, the Labrador, and Stumpy, the red squirrel, and Stumpy is ready to have babies. And Kona, the Labrador, is owned by Professor Albert. Chapter 2, Night Talk. "Gwendolyn, are you awake?" The dog pushed his nose up against the clear glass bowl and looked inside, cross-eyed. It was a cloudy night, and only the warm glow of gas lamp outside the window gave any light to the room. The Labrador concentrated his attention on the glistening shell lying in the bowl. "Gwendolyn!" Scritch, scrape. Gwendolyn slowly turned herself around and put her hermit crab head out to meet the large, dark eyes staring in. "Lovely evening, isn't it, Kona? And nearly a full moon. I can feel it in my bones." "You have no bones, Gwendolyn," said the Labrador. "Figure of speech, dear, figure of speech. I expect it's simply the memory of a time when I did. Perhaps I had even more bones than usual. I may have been a hawk in a previous life. Hawks are nothing but bone, I hear." "Have you been watching public television with Professor Albert again?" "Well," the old crab said, smiling, "amazing birds of prey, if you must know. Personally, I'd rather be all tucked up and dreaming of the sea, but Professor Albert is such a dear, and he does love the company." "I take him to the park," said Kona. "I try to give him company, too." "You try everything you do, dear Kona," Gwendolyn answered. "That is why I like you so." Kona wagged his tail proudly. Stay tuned for the rest of Chapter 2.